Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast from the host, Imperial Dane, featuring today a 2 versus 2. Yes, indeed, you heard me right, ladies and gentlemen. A 2 versus 2 on Pointe du Hoc. Pointe du Hoc, we shall be watching RukaBitebite. We'll call him Claus, and RukaBitebite. So, of course, we'll be referring him to as Bite. No point mentioning their clan, but, you know, again... yeah... Claus and Bitebite versus Timetoabuse and TerrorWaffenSSreloaded. Unloaded, reloaded, double loaded, underloaded, overloaded, side loaded. A bit too much, really. Not very impressive. But nonetheless, fighting for the Commonwealth for the 1st British Infantry Division, holding up as the Kampfgruppe von Lux launches a brutal assault to drive the British back into this sea. Yes, indeed. So 2 Brits versus 2 Wehrmacht players. Shall the Wehrmacht players drive them off, or shall they instead be driven off themselves instead of driving the British into the Atlantic? Only one way to find out, or the channel. We are seeing some pretty aggressive play here from the British. Clearly they're intending this. Of course, this is a very favourite spot to just take up, because again, just note, this dominates the entire bleeding road, meaning the British can secure a munitions point this far away by setting up in the middle of the road. That's quite something. Second truck also packing up. Note here, by the way. No, I was about to say they were doing it in tandem, because that would have been somewhat clever, i.e. one player would pop it down, then the other would move it. Thus way they could always keep all of the territories and resources connected. But apparently the Terror Boys decided against it. And meanwhile, MG supported by a bike pushing up here against the Tommies, held up in a trench. Doing so quite nicely. While a bike up here is pushing out here for Claus. And one for Bitebite, while another MG moving up so far. Chinese Infantry. And also note here a few pioneers from both players. Clearly there's a bit of lack of coordination right there, despite being clanmates. Either that or the pioneers are up to no good. So yeah, a bit of spread out fighting here, and a bit of louder harassment here. Infantry section coming under fire. We do see some pioneers putting up a preemptive sandbag emplacement. We are seeing Volksgrenadiers actually coming out here for Claus. Jolly good job. The recce section here being continually under fire from that MG42 bullets, continue to pretty much just fly over them. And the only damage is being hurt when someone occasionally pops their head out to see if the Germans stop firing. So have they stopped firing? No, I lost my eye, Tom. Can't you see that? Maybe. Not really good at that sort of stuff. And a lieutenant who snuck in and then apparently decided to take a really, really awful route back. Clearly, Lieutenant Rogers was never really good at actually finding his way around in anything. Also, pretty aggressive move here towards the headquarters, set up there actually. He could have set it up there, but opted for all the way down there, interesting enough. Always an opportunity, I suppose. Also note, mortar emplacement going up for Timetoabuse. Bike and Volksgrenadiers moving here towards the base. If he goes blitzkrieg and gets off some blitz grenades, he could actually do a lot of damage to TerrorWaffenSSreloaded. MG42 also sitting up here, coming under fire. Pretty aggressive move from the Wehrmacht right here in the beginning. Will the MG in the wrecked... oh, but no, it is pushed away. It is pushed away. We do see Bitebite pushing up, but there's still that mortar emplacement, which... this can't protect. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. This could prove to be a bit of a mess. And meanwhile, continue to work down here, but we do see a recce section quickly dispatching the pioneers there with haste. Volksgrenadiers now taking up position there. Recce section getting MG'd from several sources. Volksgrenadiers moving up, going to try and probably knock out that mortar emplacement with a bit of German precision. Pioneers securing the territory here. Wehrmacht pushing forward, but still the road ultimately provides quite a barrier for them as the British dig in on the other side of the road. And there we go. Oh, Bike actually pushed them out of the heavy cover they'd established. That was a bit of a bad move there by Bitebite. Pioneers, Volksgrenadiers going to all head up behind that little bit of heavy cover. Finding away, we are seeing, there we go. Both players are pushing in. The MGs are nowhere near covering the force. We also see a recce section actually flanking this. This is turning very, very ugly for the Germans. We are seeing rifle grenades popping up as well, actually hitting the British instead of the Germans. Apparently, Larry is a bit of a poor shot with the rifle grenade. Bit of a shame there, but now too late. They attempted to get out the mortar emplacement. Had it been successfully supported, it could have been done. Instead, though, they failed to push up with the MGs in support of it, and the Wehrmacht instead was pushed off. Also looks like the Pioneer squad with its Flammenwerfer went down in a blaze of not quite glory. I'm not entirely sure what sort of blaze it could be considered. And field support truck getting spotted by the Germans, but at the same time, the Vickers machine gun replacement spots the Pioneers and decides to kindly remind them to bugger off. So a bit of quiet for the time being. MG42 firing at the infantry section. Sniper moving up. So sniper out there. Besides the 2 Volks Grenadiers and the MG, rather interesting, he's going for a more 1 versus 1 build. With the back, of course. Whereas we do see BiteBite taking up a much more slower support-like build, which again is not necessarily always the best thing, in particular not when you're fighting double British. You want to be able to push aggressively, and problem is BiteBite is rather opening up for not being able to do that. We also note here that Timetoabuse immediately locking off this bit with a Vickers machine gun emplacement. Vickers, marginally better than Maxim. And there we go, another Vickers going down there. They're definitely preparing for any headlong Hun assaults. Preparing the defences. Captain on the way there. We might see a direct take up there for TerrorWaffenSS, or we might see some Stuarts. Snipers sneaking up. Spotting what the devil's going on. Mines going up there for Claus. And there we go, we see RukaBitebite just pretty much marching straight into an infantry. We also see a pack being pushed forwards. Troops here caught in the middle of the road. That is rarely where you want to be caught when the MGs begin firing. That is pretty much the last spot you want to be, because you're actually an easier target due to the negative cover, which makes your troops take more damage and easier to hit overall, basically making them targets. We do see an MG covering, in fact MGs covering as the British are moving up. We do see the rifle grenades going to take up position here so they can actually fire away. Pack opens up as well. Rifle grenades flying left, right, all over the place, except at the actual Germans. Once more bringing into the question, what the hell have the rifle grenadiers been spiking their tea with? Because it's clearly not tea they've been putting into their tea. Or sugar. Damn it! Oh, damn it, I hate when that happens, but yeah, not sugar they've been putting into the tea. Always a bit rubbish when you end up running your own jokes. Like that. But we do see a half train, of course. The 21st Panzer Division would not have had those kind of half tracks. They had French converted ones, which looked a bit more, how should one put it, less awkward. But they certainly served the purpose and actually allowed the 21st Panzer Division to be very heavily equipped with these half tracks. So that is a bit of a fun fact. And we do see another heavy British push going up there. Volks going to move in. No, the half track actually pulls away. He could have used it to help support his Volks Grenadier friends from his teammate. And there we go, moving up again. Here, Blitzkrieg would have been nice against some Blitzkrieg grenades. Blitzgranaten to overwhelm the British horde. But no, instead we do see the Bren guns and 2 sections again worth of it. Really can do a number on any German troops. And they're in fact pushed away with heavy casualties. The MD has been left bare for the Tommies to get their hands on the sniper, doing his best to keep them off, but it is sadly not quite succeeding. And currently BiteBite now also having grenadiers, which is something with Panzer takes, but he's not really using them to push. We're just seeing the British are digging in harder and harder. Now 17-pounder gun emplacements are simply popping in, and we're not really seeing anything heavier from the Germans, and again a lack of aggression. Too many support units again, particularly from BiteBite, which again I'm not necessarily a huge fan of. And we do see an armoured command truck rolling in. Very large, a bit unwieldy. And bound to contain more tea than tanks. At least at the very moment. Yes, the 21st Panzer Division did not have these fine German Schützenpanzerwagens. Again, they had French ones, which they converted a bunch and handed over to the 21st Panzer Division as, well, basically replacement equipment, and the 21st Panzer Division had to make do with a lot of that kind of stuff. Self-propelled artillery, half-tracks, Sturmgeschütz, which we know is the Geschützwagen, by the way. Even some of the tanks were actually French, and they were just briefly, before the entire fighting in Normandy actually just disbanded, and then they only had Panzer IVs to fight with. So while interesting enough it was actually designated an elite division, in many ways it was not quite equipped like that in many regards. It definitely did not have any of the Panthers. And we do see another push going up here in the British in the north. We do see an attempt right here by the Volkskongress to do something. I'm not entirely sure what, and generally it seems to have failed. In fact, it looks like the Volkskongress are again absolutely gutted by the Bren guns. Grenadiers here fighting on their own under the command of Bite Sniper, legging it, having realised he's a bit outnumbered, outgunned, and outhunned. Another MG42 setting up, this time from Bite. As we do see TerrorWaffenSSreloaded marching straight into it. Half track nearby, that's good, but the problem is this is a slightly position they can actually flank. Sturm Armory is up for Claus. And a wrecking section getting engaged there, and oh, they actually managed to clear out the MG. That's a bit unfortunate, but again, that's, I suppose, the power of heroic charge. Allows them just that bit extra to hold out.
Victory location is under attack.
Infantry section on the retreat, armoured car popping out. Grenadiers marching in. Interesting enough, there's absolutely no veterancy from the two German players either. That's a bit of an interesting move. And an armoured car out there for Claus. I really think they should again go Blitzkrieg Terror, and one of them definitely should as soon as possible get a Stu 42 and just begin blowing the ever-loving snot out of them. I mean, that's really going to be the moment, the best counter they really have to the British tactics. That and Blitzkrieg grenades. One should not underestimate the extreme power that the Blitzkrieg doctrine has against British play. In particular, the more common blob play. And we do see a Cromwell action now rolling out. First infantry being supported a bit there. 17-pounder gun firing support there, and it's getting buttoned. This is turning very ugly. No idea why Claus decided to send in an armoured car. Until there we go again, rifle grenading his own troops. Whose side are you on anyways? The Huns or the Commonwealths? Looks like some bastards here going absolutely mauled. And we're seeing commanders popping wheels as he stalks towards the right. He's getting equipped with a Panzerschreck. And there we go, commanders behind everything. Storms was quickly dealing with that, but not enough munitions for any sort of helpful upgrades. And there we go, in fact, complete run-off. Cromwell here getting blasted by the pack. Half-tech nearby from Bite. In fact, looks like Bite is the one manning most of the front at the moment. He's got the most units, whereas it rather seems like Claus is rather short on everything, which is definitely not a good indicator. And another move down there. He's quickly stopped by the Vickers on the hill. And then once done firing, you empty the machine gun and brew a bit of tea. In fact, they definitely did that during World War I, since again it's a water-cooled machine gun. So of course after firing you had a nice bit of hot water. So fun fact about that. Though I imagine no one's actually surprised considering the British and their affinity for tea. The front line a bit disjointed. Nice bulge going in there due to this point. But overall, most of the victory points are in the hands of the British, which is definitely not a good sign for the Germans. Nebula was being added in, artillery, hoping to burn the Brits out of their hidey holes. Question is, will it work? Also note here, Bite's the one going Blitzkrieg. But no access to the Stu 42 at the moment. Could try and sneak in, but also note here in fact that Timetoabuse has already been thinking ahead. He's absolutely mined this area to prevent any such things that stormtroopers sneak in, so nicely done there in fact by Timetoabuse, thinking ahead, the sign of a good strategist, or at least tactician. And commanders here challenging against the MG5, and we've just seen so many just being cut down, and the prime snipers adding in as well. Brits falling left and right, but they are definitely succeeding in holding back the Hun, pushing back the troops of the 21st Panzer Division. And there we go, the first Nebelwerfer fires away. Looks like two in fact firing away, so never mind. And bombarding the base of TerrorWaffenSSreloaded and the nearby road. Ultimately, not quite actually getting anything. That's a bit the problem with firing into the blind. You're not actually guaranteed hitting anything that, you know, matters. So that was pretty much a wasted barrage, except for the little damage it did to the mortar emplacement. There's still another one there, which has not been repaired, by the way. Salvaging munitions, that's good. And we can see here that the British are slowly building up an armoured force. 25-pounder guns being prepared. Grenadiers pushed away, finally getting some veterancy. But again, some rather disturbingly defensive play from the Germans. I mean, usually you do not want to do that. And largely, so far, they've rather been playing along to the British tune. And that, as the German player, is definitely not the kind of music you want to dance along to. So definitely some problems there. Let's go look at Claus, Wunder Claus, who's definitely shorter on everything. Although he's gone for terror and he's got Firestorm prepared. So that might be worked into something. You can launch a... either of them can actually build up a force that can attack, because currently they don't really either of them have any attack forces. So a combined pair of Firestorms around here, a Stu 42 and some other bits, might be able to pull off something against Timetoabuse southern positions, and it will also be difficult for the other player to react in time, so that might be the key. More Needleweavers going down here. Like incendiary drops of rain. They hit a lot, but not necessarily their targets. And now it looks like the Germans are making minor preparations, getting ready for a centre wall thrust, while at the same time we also note here that TerrorWaffenSSreloaded is getting ready for a northern thrust. Sending in infantry first, tanks clearing out here the obstacles. Of course, you could simply get a sapper section with some demo charges and knock out those tank traps. That is definitely some tricky stuff. And there we go. Firestorm going down. Question is where? Up here, possibly. Yes, indeed. Oh dear, we are seeing lots of infantrymen going down there as the road turns in to a long walk of fire. And at the same time, we see a southern push going on from Timetoabuse, catching Bite's force in preparations for the assault. That is definitely very bad, very bad. Stormtroopers doing their best to knock it out, that 17-pounder gun. But they are ultimately forced away by the looks of it. A counter-attack, or whatever we call what Timetoabuse pulled off, they're definitely working out. We do see the 17-pounder gun going down. Can the Germans exploit it? And we do now see a Stroop going out for Claus. Artillery going down out there. Or could it be decoy smoke? It's hard to keep track of all the stuff that's going on in the moment, and I do believe it's time for the mid-game analysis. Current situation is a bit rubbish for the Germans, but now it looks like they're finally coalescing into the assault. They're finally moving on to the offensive. Again, it's something they should have been doing more with, a bit more minor aggression, but peace be with that. They do need to pull off a really solid assault. They need to break up the centre. If they can do that, they could essentially split up the two British forces, which would definitely deny them some movement. But more infantry, more packs, more everything is needed from the Germans. They need to really keep everything tight, and they also need medic bunkers. I'm actually surprised there have been no medic bunkers for the Germans at all. That might have helped in the longer run, kept up a bit of the attrition against the British, but sadly that not quite happened. For the British, the question is, of course, they need to hold this. Again, if they lose that, then they could again risk they split up from each other, and the Germans can then more handily handle them either at the time. So, you know, but overall they do seem to have the forces. And again, the sort of punch we are seeing TerrorWaffenSS preparing right here is definitely going to be a nightmare for the Germans. 2 Fireflies, 2 Cromwells, and a command tank. That means high rate of fire and some decent range bonus as well. That's definitely going to be a problem for the Germans, who only got a few packs. Stug, Panzerschrecks and all that, and if well utilized, could actually break through. So again, the Germans need to build up something a bit more solid. They need to be quick about it. And again, they need to do some serious damage without suffering too much themselves, which is definitely a bit of a tall order at the moment. And I see a V1's actually being called in. So let's see where that one lands. I guess it could be here, which could work out. And there we go, mortar emplacement is down, but the headquarters commander actually, surprisingly enough, survived an encounter with the Vengeance rocket. £25 gun here. Oh, mine goes off again. Absolutely nasty defense here set up by the British. Lots of mines, lots of everything. Stug rolling forwards. Grenadiers doing what they can, but they're pinned to the ground. And there we go, British armoured assault going in against a Stug, and that's a single Stug without veterancy. Oh, ach du lieber Claus. And he's getting support of veterancy too. That's definitely not going to help. And there goes Stug down, packed down. Lots of artillery going down, armour cars getting smashed aside like toys. Can the Grenadiers? No, they retreat. And there we go, so the assault is rolling in. Grenadiers, Stormtroopers doing their best to stop the armoured onslaught. Half track down. Pack getting overwhelmed. More artillery going down on the German defence lines as they're trying to establish them. This is absolutely tragic, and this pack still pointing in the wrong direction. And meanwhile, we're seeing another British assault pushing up there. We're seeing another pack here. So many packs, but half of them aren't pointing in the right direction or in range. Stormtroopers moving in again, having figured out that it was a decoy. Commandos managed to sneak past the entire thing quickly. Shore up things. MG going to go down. And there we go, Cromwell down. Overall, that was a pretty devastating assault against the Germans. Artillery going down here, straight on what might have been a needle river position. I am remotely confident that they didn't lose any to it, though. Another Stug rolling out. Might get one Firefly, or they might lose the Stug. Nope. Both things get away. Bit of a shame, bit of a shame. The British definitely got the better out of that engagement. Storms were quick to set in. Of course, we still have that MG in the ruined building there, firing from the remnants of a window, catching the Hun Stormtroopers in the middle of the road. Again, where you do not want to be caught. More artillery going in. They probably should have called in the V1 there rather than here. Just saying. Still no veterancy for the Stug. Still a bad idea. Victory points are still draining down. And looks like another fast storm getting called in the headquarters, hoping to knock it out. But again, that's going to mean they've expended more than 300 munitions on trying to knock it out. More needle-river rockets landing over here, almost killing a sapper section. Another full-on assault from Timetoabuse, and let's in fact go return to him. Timetoabuse. With 2 commando sections, lots of infantry and other bits. (21st Panzer Division) is in a bit of a sticky situation, if you will. Stug doing what he can. Armour getting repaired there for TerrorWaffenSSreloaded. And a bone grenade. Clearing out several of the Tommies like it did for their forefathers in World War I, as that was a World War I tactic. Well, of course, these are Stormtroopers. The fun thing about the entire situation is, in particular when it came to German infantry, was that pretty much the concept for the World War II infantry plan for the Germans was actually centered around the old Stormtrooper units from World War I. That is, they had some of the same concepts and ideas built into them, which is actually quite interesting. And there we go, just a huge wave of Panzerschrecks taking out the machine gun emplacement. Can they take the victory point there? Can they? Come on, Heinz! Schnell! Nehmen Sie die Siegpunkt! Come on, just tear through it all. Get the 25 pounder gun. There we go. They're punching through the centre. Schneck, no, no. Take the victory point. Get the 25 pounder gun. No, the Germans are dispersing too fast. They're dispersing too fast. Oh dear, they're not going for the objectives. I suppose he's trying to hit the side here, which could work, but still, I'm not convinced that's a good idea. They're dispersing the troops. The front line now currently too weak due to the sneak mission. There go British armor rolling up. Armor car getting caught in the middle of everything. Commanders popping in right in front of the MG42. Chaos, pandemonium, carnage. 25 pounder gun though is history. Alternate again, 21st Pension would have had Stooks, and again, they Stooks, they have, well, what we know as the Geschutzwagen. They will still use the Stooks, but still, slight difference. That was only the only division which early on actually counterattacked the British in Normandy, so yeah. Went for that one. Cromwell command tank could get knocked out, which would be a shame since that is a veterans who won. Then he's taking up position in the trench. Lovely, lovely. Victory point neutralized. More armor rolling out there from TerrorWaffenSSreloaded. A bit ironic he's playing with the British then. And we are seeing Timetoabuse counter-attack, but he's now suffered a bit of losses. He's a bit vulnerable. And again, why he then moved down there and then moved all the way back up, I don't know. Bite. But more infantry is quickly needed at the front line. More of everything is needed at the front line for that matter. And we're seeing a Stu 42, we're seeing Nebelwerfers being pushed forwards. And artillery getting called in on the German anti-tank gun positions. Let's go look at TerrorWaffenSSreloaded without a command track, and who doesn't seem to be bothering with it even. Having no time for that. No time to lose. Commanders getting caught on then the stream of MG fire. Absolute brutal attack right there going in. Nasty stuff, and whatever the Germans had just gained was largely then lost. Which is a definite shame, although we also see a lot of MG42s not being recruited. I mean, if Claus could easily take with a few full scans and then push them up, that would definitely make it much harder for the British infantry to advance in the first place. Just isn't happening, which is what I'd describe as a bad idea. But take that point. More Stu-42s. Just running forth with everything. And there we go, the British armour is getting ready for another push. Storms will take up position in the old house. That's nice, that's nice. And the headquarters command truck actually got called in now. Fancy that.
Secured sector under attack.
I would definitely suggest that Claus gets a few more Stooks and also gets some bleeding veterancy for them. But he's not. British Horde attacking from the south. Again, no MGs because the large haven't been recruited, or at least it looks like now Claus is doing so. Stu-42's artillery, everything explosive being lobbed into a small area. Nebelwerfers might also want to fire veterancy free, by the way. But still not a single shred of veterancy for his assault guns, which again is a bit of a bad idea. Priest being called in to support TerrorWaffenSSreloaded. To provide the artillery support that Mr. Other guy can't provide at the moment. Stu-42 being fired directly into the trench, and we do see the Christ! Both snipers and some other units went down. We're seeing a creeping barrage straight into the centre of the German lines, into everything that held it together. Oh, good lord. Carnage. And fine artillerymanship from the British, but ultimately devastating. That pretty much just gutted the German defence. And we're finally seeing a force moving down here, but encountering straight into that 17-pounder gun. Stu needs to pull away again. Lacking veterancy. Stu-42s at the very least should be moving in. Nebelwerfer firing in. Can they do it? Focus down the 17-pounder gun first if you must do anything. And a V-bomb rocket get called in. If he could force the British back, right as it hits. No, he's packing up. TerrorWaffenSSreloaded knows what to do. 17-pounder gun is down, but at the same time we see the British armour assault going in, catching the assault guns on the flank. And there's nothing to support them. No stormtroopers, no packs, no anything. It looks like they are going in to see if they can't knock that position out down south, but the armoured force from TerrorWaffenSSreloaded is on the move, and it is bad news for the Hun. And there we go, the stew goes down like a Roman candle. Situation, and more artillery going in. Looks like another creeping barrage, catching the pack that was left. Sappers getting murdered, but now the armoured force is rolling back up the road.
Romans are seizing territory, Claus.
And Veteran 2, which actually gives another set of bonuses. I mean, a Cromwell command tank only imparts another set of bonuses. That is Veterans, the only benefits of the Vet 2. Vet 1 and Vet 3 doesn't actually do anything from what I know. But again, Vet 2 actually makes everything much, much nastier. In particular, Fireflies really become pure base of destruction. The situation is looking pretty grim for Jerry. Stormtroopers doing here what they can, but will it be enough as the entire force is moving in? Bundle grenade almost wipes out the Stormtroopers. In fact, one squad gets killed. And there we go, Vickers is blown up. A single bundle grenade here could perhaps finish off the rest of the force.
Overwatch abilities have been passed down the line. Unity able to cover through.
No idea what that's about. Let's go look at Bite again. Now headquarters could go down, but again at considerable loss to the Germans. They're having some success now in wearing down the British, but they're also incredibly short on victory points. And there's still a huge armoured force marauding about. And more commandos. Situation is definitely not looking happy. And there might be an attempt to rush straight here for a Tiger tank at the very least now from BiteBite, although he's gone for manpower blitz first, interestingly enough. Will he succeed? Armoured cars moving in and coming under fire from the Fireflies again. Veteran C3, by the way, again that's not going to do much, but even Veteran C2 is definitely going to make those Fireflies absolute killing machines. Heavy needle barrels going down around the centre to soften things up before the infantry arrives. Oh no! He's going straight for the headquarters with his stormtroopers, going to catch Timetoabuse at his softest, I suppose. Well, the troops reinforcing. Can he succeed? Could he clear out Timetoabuse? Grenades going off, but the troops already moving away. They should just focus on knocking out the headquarters. Get all troops on it. No, he's moving in there, but if they're mines... No, wait, he set off them before, so never mind then. And looks like one section is down. That was the commandos. There go armor cars rolling in. And looks like artillery's getting called in directly on the headquarters. Apparently that was decoy. That's weird. But the northern victory point has fallen to the Commonwealth instead. And he's not taking the victory point, he's talking about trying to knock out the field support truck. Ach du lieber! Bite, what are you doing? And now again, the British armoured train is down south again, taking the highway. Grenadiers and stormtroopers hiding everywhere, but they're not really in a good position to withstand this. And now all three victory points are in the hands of the Germans. And now a Tiger tank can get called in for BiteBite, but will it be enough? As we also see, the northern victory point has now been fortified instead. Sniper doing what he can, veteran C, of course, he can fire fast. In fact, both of them can now really lay into the British troops, but they have to be careful they don't get too close. And there we go, more British victims. And there we go, headquarters command targets down. The infantry supporting it could go down as well. He just needs something to quickly clear out the machine gun emplacement. In fact, there's very, very little British infantry left. Which means Pax and all that could definitely have an advantage now. The question is, can they leverage it? Can they hold out long enough? Slight problems again. Ever so lovely. But another desperate push for the northern victory point. And some pretty intense artillery. Causing a full retreat out there from the stormtroopers. More commanders popping in. I'm wondering if there might not be more commanders on this beach than actual regular British soldiers. Which would be quite something else. Much more all for victory points are in the hands of the British. Tiger arrives. Stu arrives. Königstiger is also here. A bit slower to get to the front line though. Though of course if they could coordinate the Tiger and the King Tiger at the same time, of course they might be able to actually punch through all of this, though it's still going to be rather painful for the tankers. And there goes Stormtrooper laying up. Could this be the assault, or will they lose before it actually succeeds? And there we go. Panzer, there we go, actually going after the soft target, the weak target, the command tank. If they can get it, they could absolutely deprive the British of a lot. But there we go, British arm on the move, and there we go, GG, GG, the game is over. A loss to the Germans to the 21st Panzer Division. The Kampfgruppe von Lux did not succeed in pulling it through. And again, the problem largely remained in that they were too passive initially. Again, this sort of force they should have had more infantry, some machine guns, and there was also some poor coordination. Again, had they succeeded here in the beginning, they probably could have had a much better chance of overall pulling it through. But again, there was some lack of coordination between the two overall, which was also saw rather typified by that early move of the Pioneers over there as well. And I think that might also have been rather hurt, not just the problems in pulling off a proper assault, but also there seemed to be some sort of communication issue, which is probably also why one went test and the other here, and that might have lost them the match. On the other hand, we saw some interesting British play. We saw some pretty heavy focus on armour from one. We saw some defences, and again we saw some German taking too much time in actually overcoming it. And for example, I'm not trying to circumvent it by pushing through here. I mean, had the Simnia just decide to slowly make their way through here, they could have hit the British position in the sun and would have forced them to spread out on a much larger front. And that was also a bit the problems. The Germans, again, rather resort to the one thing you probably shouldn't be doing, is a head-on assault. They should have tried to constantly outflank and again force the British player to themselves extend their front, making it easier for them, the Germans, to punch through a hole in the middle. That could also work. I mean, there were definitely possibilities, and I just don't feel the German players quite took full up chance of it. Of course, they did a lot of damage ultimately, though. In the end, they were able to punch through, but again, then they weren't able to sort of solidify the positions, the ground they'd taken, and the British just swept them off the field. And again, that guy really should have gotten some veterans for his tanks. So, there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, why not subscribe, tell your friends. If you didn't, well, why not send a replay of your own, provide some feedback in the comments. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.